kids, welcome again to the Nolly and Friends show. My name is Nolly, and this here is...
My name is Binyam. It's good to see you guys again on this 24th episode of the Molly and Friends show. Thanks for joining us for a few moments in your day. We hope you're having an amazing day, and we are thrilled to spend the next few moments with you as we talk a little bit about...
What are we talking about today? What are we talking about?
Oh, Molly, today it's a very interesting topic. Today we're talking about knowing to say no. No to say no.
No to say no? I don't get it.
I mean, no, like in your mind, how to say no.
That's an easy thing to say, though. Why do you have to know how to say no?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about why it is so difficult for many of us, Molly, to say no.
Really? That it's only 2 letters. And, oh, no. That's not hard.
That's a good point, Molly. It doesn't seem hard to say a very small word, but many of us struggle to say no because we've never learned how to say no. In fact, we're always told, no, not always, we're often told to say yes and to do things sometimes that feel uncomfortable, and we don't get enough practice and encouragement to be able to say no to things that we should say no to.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm interested in seeing what you're talking about. Let's talk about it.
Sure thing, Molly, but first you know what we do, right?
Oh, I know. First, we do our feelings check-in. Can I ask you how you're feeling today?
Okay, Molly. Today, let's see here. Let me just think for a moment. Molly, I'm super excited to be here. I love this podcast. I love doing this podcast with you. I think our friendship it's a really special friendship, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can talk and tell me what to say.
Well, yes, this is like a puppet. You're a puppet. But the thing is, it's so much fun when I get to work with you because it's like a new way of expressing creativity and you're a part of it. And I almost feel like, I don't know, we're pretty good friends.
Of course we are. I like you. And I like that you're my sidekick in this podcast because it says Nolly and Friends. So that means all you are my friends, but you too.
Yes, we do have a very special friendship and we've worked for such a long time together. It's been so much fun to be able to have this kind of relationship, right? The one that we are able to like cooperate together and put together our podcasts and teach kids as well.
Oh, it's been so much fun.
So that's why I'm super excited to be here with you, Molly, because I love our time together.
Me too. Today, I'll tell you how I'm feeling. I'm not feeling very happy at all.
Why aren't you feeling happy, Molly?
Have you seen outside?
Oh, right. You see, for those of you who do not know, it finally got cold here in the city that we live in. And so, yeah, I can see why you're not happy about that.
I know, it's so cold and the snow came and I did not like it at all because it's not my favorite.
That's totally fair, Molly.
However, it's nice that I get to stay inside where you have to go outside in the work in the cold weather.
Yeah, that wasn't fun, but at least I dressed well for it.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, I have a dad joke today. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready, Molly. Go ahead and tell us your dad joke.
Okay, so here's the dad joke. Why didn't the bicycle stand up?
Why didn't the bicycle stand up, Molly?
Because he was too tired. Get it? 2 tires. He was too tired.
I get it. That was pretty terrible, Molly.
I know, that was a terrible dad joke, but I love those. They're so good.
Thank you for sharing that dad joke with us, Molly. That was a fairly good one. What did you guys think? Did you like that one? If you like these dad jokes, feel free to share them with your friends at school, perhaps, or wherever you are. We share them because we like enjoying some good times together, like laughing.
Yeah, we totally love jokes, and he always laughs where I practice not laughing.
Yeah, I'm still practicing how to do that.
But anyway, let's get to our topic today. So you're saying no to say no.
That's right. Our topic is no to say no.
No to say no.
That's right. So I was saying there earlier, Molly, that it's very difficult for many of us to say no because of a variety of things.
Oh, I want to hear why, because it's so easy for me to say no.
I'm glad that you feel safe saying no, but for a lot of people, Molly, they don't feel safe saying no, both adults and kids. But today we're talking to kids, and so we're going to try to stick with things that kids can relate to.
Okay, I can't wait to hear. What are some of these things that make it so difficult to say no?
Well, Molly, here's one of those things. Many of us kids, myself included, when I was a kid, we were taught to always obey adults, even if it felt uncomfortable.
Oh, is that Dad?
Well, sometimes it isn't the best thing to obey an adult if they're asking you to do something that's really uncomfortable, that you don't feel like you're well suited for. And if you've always been taught to say okay and to obey, it can be a really difficult thing to be able to say no because you haven't been taught or given permission to say no.
I see.
And on top of that, in some cultures, Molly, if someone is older than you, especially if they're an adult, you don't even have the option of saying no. You always have to obey what they're saying. And these are cultures where you're supposed to respect and honor your elders. So if they tell you to do something, you don't have any option but to obey.
I see. That can be really difficult.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we're talking about this, is so that we can help our young audience, all of our friends who are listening, to be able to understand what scenarios make it difficult and then how to say no and learn how to say no.
I see. What else should we think about when it's hard to say no?
Well, another one is for a lot of kids, and I remember what this was like, we just want to fit in. I remember when I first moved to this country in Canada, and I wanted so badly to fit in, Molly, and I've had difficulty making friends. I tried to do things that I thought would help me make friends, but it was so difficult because I did a lot of things that I should have said no to, but I desperately wanted to fit in and make friends and be accepted by others, and I wasn't. And so I tried to do things, and I did some things especially that I should have said no to. Like I started swearing, I started fighting, I started doing a whole bunch of things that I thought would get me that kind of friend, that it would get me accepted by friends that I was trying to be friends with, and it didn't. Another one too, Molly, is that we might fear being punished if we say no. Like for a lot of us kids, if we say no to doing something uncomfortable, we're probably going to get punished in some way. We might get sent to our room.
Or do you think you might get like punished by way of like spankings?
Well, some people still give spankings to their kids, so that's a possibility. I know there's some people who think that shouldn't happen, but that's something that still happens today. And so they might be afraid that they'll be punished if they say no to uncomfortable things that they're being asked to do. And even sometimes, like kids, I don't know if you can relate to me, but sometimes we might be asked to do something, Molly, that is really uncomfortable for us.
Oh, nice. Like what?
I don't know, like something that would be scary or something that we've never done before, and we kind of feel anxious and scared to do it, but we're not allowed to say no, or we might feel self-conscious say no. We might feel like we're not permitted to say no, and so we'll go ahead and do something that just it's unfamiliar and we don't know how to do it, and so we're kind of confused. And other times, Molly, maybe we don't know what's the difference between right and wrong, and so in those settings we just don't know how to say no because we're like, I don't know how to think through this thing.
Oh, I know what that's like. Sometimes I just don't know if this is the right way or this is the right way. It's so hard to tell.
I know. So that's some of the experiences some of our friends may have. Another one is the word called manipulation.
Who?
No, manipulation.
Manipulation.
That's right. Manipulation is when someone tries to get you to do something by kind of tricking you into it. And they might do it by a few different ways. They might flatter you, which means they'll say some nice things saying, oh, Molly, you're amazing at this. You should do this. And so they'll try to make you feel good about it to try and get you to do something that might be uncomfortable. Or they might do a guilt trip, which means they'll try and say, if you don't do this, I'm going to make you feel bad for not doing it. Or maybe they're trying to bribe you by saying, if you do this uncomfortable thing, I'll give you something that you really want. And that's what we call bribery.
Ooh, that does not sound healthy.
It is not healthy at all, Molly, for sure. Sometimes we also have some bad experiences when we said no. And that's probably like where you guys may remember, like maybe getting a spanking, or you might have been yelled at or something that was really uncomfortable and really kind of painful. And so you've learned, okay, if I say no, this is what's going to happen. And so you try not to say no as a result, right? Especially if you're being asked to do something that is uncomfortable or not good. And of course, we also sometimes just want to please others, don't we, Molly? We just want to We don't want to disappoint others around us, especially if we love them, like our parents or someone we look up to. And we just want to say yes, even though we should be saying no, just because we don't want to hurt their feelings or we don't want to disappoint them. And so that's the reason why.
These are quite a few reasons. I didn't realize there were so many reasons that make it hard to say no. I see now why it's so hard to say the snarl word N-O. N-O. No.
That's right, Molly. These are challenging things for a lot of kids to try and work through. But here's some ways that we can learn to say no. Are you ready for these?
All right, let's do it.
Okay. One of those is peer pressure. Peer pressure is when your friends try to get you to do something that you know is wrong, and they're saying, you got to do this because everyone else is doing it. That's peer pressure. It might be to break rules or maybe to do drugs or alcohol or smoking sometimes. And I know a lot of my friends when I was young, Molly, were part of peer pressure, and they started doing things that they should have said no to, and they got into a lot of trouble, and they got into a lot of commitments that they've regretted for a long time.
I see.
And then another one is when someone touches you and it doesn't feel comfortable. So like when you don't want to be touched, but people touch you or come into your personal space and break your boundaries. We've talked about this in previous podcasts, if you guys remember. And so it could even involve like hugs or kisses, or maybe even just a touch from anyone, whether it's in your family or your friends or even adults in general. This is something that we should learn how to say no, or no thank you, or I do not like that, or please don't do that. These are some ways of saying no. Another one is where you might be bullied by someone who is being mean or unkind to you, and they're showing you some very mean behavior or forcing you to do something by force. And these are things that you should learn to say no thank you, and talk to an adult that you trust on these ones here, for example.
I see.
Another one is like cheating or lying, and others are trying to get you to do the same, saying, hey, just say this, even though it's not the truth. Learn to say no in those settings, because that's not cool when that happens.
I agree. That's not cool at all.
There are some uncomfortable situations sometimes, like maybe it's in a game and they say, hey, let's pretend to do this. And you're like, ooh, that does not feel good. And in those settings, it's important for us to practice how to say,
no, don't do it.
That's right, Molly. Exactly what we're practicing to say. And then, of course, sometimes someone, maybe it's an adult or a kid, may come and ask you to keep a secret that should not be a secret. And these are secrets, for example, where it's about unsafe behavior or things that you should not be doing. And so they'll say, let's keep this a secret just between the two of us when they do something or say something. And you're like, ooh, this does not sound good. So in those settings, what should we be saying, Molly?
No!
That's right. And you kids, learn to say no in these in these kind of dynamics. Perhaps it's also because someone's challenging your personal boundaries, where they say, hey, come on, just do this. Like, for example, if someone says, it's okay to just change in front of us. If you don't feel comfortable, don't do it. Learn how to say, I do not like this and I don't want to do it. Feel okay with that. Even if you feel it might hurt their feelings, say no, thank you, because it's really important for you to be able to know how to say no. Sometimes, Molly, there may be dangerous situations in which people ask us to participate or be a part of. In those settings, for any reason that is really uncomfortable or dangerous, we should be saying no. That's not cool.
I like these.
Now, friends, as you're listening to this, we want you to practice a whole bunch of these. Listen to this podcast again, and maybe you practice with some of your friends saying, hey, let's practice how to say no to each other. Or maybe you can ask an adult that you trust and say, can we practice saying no? Because I don't know how to say no very well. And this is a really important skill to learn.
These are really good ideas, Danielle. Thanks for talking about this today.
You're very welcome, Molly. Molly, shall we say one last dad joke before we close our program today?
Oh, yes. Okay, kids, are you ready for this one?
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Okay, here we go. I'm afraid for the calendar.
Why are you afraid for the calendar, Molly?
I'm afraid for the calendar because its days are numbered. 1, 2, 3.
I get it, Molly. There's days on the calendar and they're all numbered. And it's like saying the calendar doesn't have a lot to live.
Yep, you got it.
That's good, Molly. Molly, our last message to our kids, like we are always wanting to say, what do we want to tell them?
Kids, you are smart, you are kind, and you are so important to us. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Bye, kids.